Hi guys, so our good friend Sir Roger Gale is back again to be a thorn in the side of the Brexiteer government. Now he represents a constituency where farmers have been reaching out to him to help them solve problems of the labour shortage. He pointed out that the minister's responsibility is to provide workers the economy needs, and he asked the government what they're doing to avoid the problems we've seen this year being repeated in 2022. Now, of course, the response from the minister was as useful as a chocolate teapot. Let's hear what they had to say.
One of the Secretary of State's responsibilities is the provision of an adequate supply of domestically produced fruit and vegetables. Much of this year's harvest has been lost as a result of a lack of labour. Contrary to popular belief, there isn't a queue of domestic labour waiting to harvest apples and tomatoes. So, having lost this year's harvest, what is my right honourable friend going to do to ensure that there is adequate labour supply for next year?
Minister.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I visited the Kent Agricultural Showground last week for the very impressive National Fruit Show, and I was able to talk to many growers about the very tight labour market which we're suffering from at the moment. As the honourable gentleman knows, we've got a seasonal workers pilot with 30,000 visas.
30,000 visas. But the industry is short 100,000 workers. So, industry is saying we need 100,000 workers, and your response is we're going to give you 30,000. Okay, but 30,000. No, wait. 30,000 temporary visas. It's like, so, you're short 100,000, and the government say we're going to give you 30,000. And it's temporary, not permanent, not long term. That's not a solution. Industry is desperate for workers, and your response is pretty much nothing.
Growers can also continue to recruit workers under the EU settlement scheme.
The EU settlement scheme, but these are people who are already in the country, and these are people who are already working. You want these people to what? To quit their job? To work on farms? So to create a shortage somewhere else? It's a bit like the heavy goods vehicle driver shortage. What's happening is drivers are being offered more money by supermarkets or large logistics companies, and then they're leaving their jobs and leaving a gap behind. So they're creating shortages, and I covered it before when it came to buses, for example. There are not enough drivers for the buses. So what's happening is their bus services are being reduced because the drivers are becoming heavy goods vehicle drivers and being paid double. So your response is, yeah, we already have people in the country who are working and they can do these jobs. Really?
For the longer term, we're working with DWP to encourage the recruitment of more UK workers and also undertaking a review of how automation will help with this.
So we're going to train up people. But that's not going to work, and that's not going to fix the problem. There's an immediate requirement now. It takes months to train people up. But obviously, if you were able to train people up, if you're able to hire people, you would have done that at this stage. Like, at what stage will the government say, okay, training people up domestically to do these jobs are not working? They don't seem to accept that. And when it comes to technology, automation, yeah, but we're talking about at least 6 or 7 years down the line. These farmers need the workers today. They need them this year. They need them next year. They need them the year after. They can't wait for the technology to arrive. And people really don't understand how the technology works and the limitations of the technology and why it's better to have a person. Because to program a robot or a computer to be able to identify whether a fruit is mature enough, if it's soft enough to be picked, to apply the right amount of pressure to pull it off the plant, and then to load it, that requires a huge amount of processing power. It's very expensive, and we're still at the infancy of that. It takes years to develop that type of technology. And the response from the government is, just wait for the technology to arrive. It's a bit like Jacob Rees-Mogg when he was saying about the Northern Ireland border. Yeah, there will be a technological solution coming down the road. This is the response from government. Visas that are short term, that have obviously not enticed enough people in. relying on people who are already working to shift over to picking fruit and vegetables. And finally, technology. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.